Over the years, the number one thing I'm asked to code for people is dashboards like this. You can look at all the pairs as you know that you want to look at. It'll fit on your screen. Now this computer here is one of these little almost disposable. So the code I'm going to post will be for a very small screen. This is just an example. If you've never coded anything, don't let code scare you off. I can assure you, you will be in a very short time. You could create dashboards like this yourself. There's really nothing to it. The first thing you want to do is Google button MQ4, and what you're going to come up with among things will be this. Just go to MetaTrader's MQL4 site and click on the link for that, and you will see this button right here. They've done all the work for us. Scroll down, and don't let this scare you. You'll be able to do it, I assure you. All you need to do is look at this right here, button create. Look at the explanations over here. You don't have to look at them all. You don't have to know them all, memorize them. You don't have to memorize anything, really. But just kind of familiarize yourself just a little bit with what these different things are. Your X and Y coordinates, all that means is where the button is on the chart. X or Y. I did that backwards, but you know what I mean. The height, the width, is talking about how wide the button is and how tall the button is. See, it explains it right there. It talks about where you want to start measuring from. The text that's on the button, the word, you saw how it said button up there, the font, the size of the lettering, the various colors and things along that line. Don't concern yourself with any of this. Stringo and the MetaTrader guys have already done all this for us. Trust them, they've done it right. Don't concern yourself with any of that. And you don't worry about button move down here. All we want to do is create the buttons right now. Once you've looked over that, and look over it for a few minutes, go open up MetaTrader, the editor, click on File, click on New, Expert Advisor, give it a name. Let's just call it Z. You call it whatever you want, but okay, next. Next, don't even look at none of that stuff. Next, finish. Okay, you're done. There it is. Take this, and matter of fact, you can take out, yours will probably come up and say something else. Take out all that right there, Control X, and all you have now is that. That's it. That's all you need. I'm going to post some code on the enivids site, earnforex.com. Look at that, or you can download it as far as that goes, and it will have what I'm fixing to show you right now. The first part in expert advisors or indicators and all like that, the first part is going to come right under the property linked, and it's just going to be a few things most of the time. String sim list, that's my word. Sim list is how I figure it. All that is, that's just going to tell you the list of indicators over here on the side. I mean the symbols. Look closely at how those are written. Parentheses, EURUSD in capital letters, parentheses closed, and a comma. So in case you want to change yours, if you wanted AUDJPY first, you would put parentheses, capital letters, AUDJPY, parentheses closed. And you can kind of look at that. It's pretty much self-explanatory. A comma after every one. If you go to the next line, it's just simply go to the next line. The last one, NZD USD, parentheses, there's no comma. Notice there's no comma. And then there's a brackets or brace or whatever you call it, and then a semicolon. And you can see the other side is there. Those are important. You got to have one there and one there. Now if you 20, that's the number of symbols I have. If you put 10 more symbols and you didn't change that to 30, it'd come back and say something like too many initializers. Just have this number for right now match these. Extern, init, horizontal and vertical, 50 and 50. Remember, that's just measuring how far over and how far down. And I put those extern, that just means it's adjustable by you. For some reason they use the word extern. And init just means that it's a integer. It's not a double like 50.3. It's a 50, flat 50. And I just put those in there so in a second you'll see and you'll feel like you've really done something more than you've done. String symbol, that's important. String is a word. It's a word. It means a word. And symbol is the word that it is. And then two more inits, integers, count and bar. So what you want to do, let's just do it. Right here, just say, take this, Control C, copy, and let's just put it in hours. Control V, there it is. Now let's go back here. Now we have our init section. Init section is where stuff gets done before really anything is done, kind of. The only thing we're doing here is we're going to count the array size. So in other words, what it's going to do, it's going to count all these. Because you might have this number at 30, but you only have 5 here. 5 symbols. So it's going to count the array. Don't worry about start, that's something else. And that's it. That's all you're going to do. So you can put your thing there. Control C, copy. Control V. Alright, that's there. And like I said, I'm going to post all this code right here that you're looking at now on the enivids site. And there's no point in doing this. I just want you to see how easy it is. Init, this is the dinit. This is when you close the chart or you take this off. If you want to remove the expert advisor. If you want to remove the expert advisor, it'll take all the symbols off and everything to clean the chart. I have it on this just for a reason. It's not worth going into. Okay, Control C, copy. Control V, paste. Now we're getting into a very simple little start program. Init start. Another integer, I. And all this says, what this does is if bars not equal to bars, all that's doing is it'll do it one time. You know, they say I want to sell one time per bar or something. That means it will do this right here one time. If the bars are not equal to bars, it's saying then do all this. If the bars were equal to bars, it wouldn't do it. Objects delete all. What it does, it wipes everything off the chart and starts fresh. And that's so when the new bar rolls around, you're looking at new, fresh signals. This right here is something you kind of need to spend some time on. This for I equals 0, I less than count, I plus plus. It's worth it to spend a few minutes to understand what that's telling you. if I equals 0, if I is less than count, add 1. It's worth it to look into that. It's not really important that you understand it, but I'd advise it. Your symbol, which is going to be right there up at the top, the EUR USD is symbol 0. EUR NZD is symbol 1. So what it's doing is it does the first one, and it does the second one, and it does the third one, and we're in 3 is not 20, because remember we had 20, so it keeps going. And the only way it knows what symbol it is by the eye. Now, what I'm going to do is first, well, that's the wrong one. Here's where you create your buttons. Button, and these things here are the requirements for this button. Now you might notice my button code looks a little different, and I don't have the explanations out there, but primarily it's the same. It's just a little simpler. It's primarily the same. It's asking for an X distance, remember the X and Y. It's asking for background color. It's asking for font color. It's asking for the size of the button, how tall, how wide. Label. It's asking, what words are on there, and the name. It's just a little simpler than the one you looked at, but on the MQ4 site, but I'd still look at it. So here is button. It's calling that function down there. By plus the symbol is the name. The font, the words, the text, whatever you want to call it, the label is the word by. 40 by 18 is the size. I forgot what the 100 stands for. Y distance. X distance. Yeah, X distance. 100 is the X distance. In other words, how far over. And vertical is the up and down distance. And you notice here it says vertical equals I times 22. That is so each time you go to another symbol, it will drop down 22 more, and then 22 more, and then 22 more. And the reason for that is so they won't all be stacked on top of each other. And now your number here, this 22 might be different. This is a small computer. You just have to kind of play around with that part. The blue, that's the button color. You can call it the background color. That's for the symbols. White was the, if I remember right, white was the, yeah, white's the font. See NZ, the lowest one there. You see buy on NZD USD, buy. Now the cell is black. I'll explain that later. And it was lime and it was red. That's the buy and the sell. And the and the lettering was black, right? Yeah, font color, F color, black. Bars equals, and okay, now once you've done all this, once the computer has done all this program, then we say bars equals bars. So once it's done it, then bars equals bars, so now it will not do it again until you either change the chart. For some reason the bars don't equal the bars. And so I'm going to copy all this at one time this time. Let's go up here to the start. Control C. We go to our one here. Control V. And let's compile it right there, that button right there, compile. 0 errors. All right, now let's go to a chart. Yep, give it a second. Okay, now let's go to a chart. Guess we have to give it more than a second. Ah, darn it. I should have gave it a second. Rats. Okay. I do what I'm going to do. Let me X out of those. X out of that. Okay, let's open anything. Let's put it. I just have a template made up blank that'll takes everything off. And let's go to our, what we said, Z. Right there. And there you go. What it did was, it looked at your symbol list. The first one was EURUSD. It did that. Then it did the buy button. Then it did the sell button. All the way down. Now, if you clicked on this right now, it's not going to do anything because you haven't told it to do anything. But that's the first step in I'm not going to open that other one up. It's the first step in that what you saw to begin with. But maybe I might have one open. If I did it, what it's going to do is set off all. It's going to do a bunch of alarms. Let's go back to this real quick. My button code is slightly different. All you have to concern yourself with is giving this down here, the button function, the proper things that it wants. And for right now, just to do this right here, which is really all you need for the first step. It might take you 10 steps to do this. Just do it like this. Now the name of the button is going to be buy plus the symbol. So this would be buy EURUSD in the first one, so to speak. Let me see if I can pull that up there. Nope, it won't. Sometimes it'll let you, it might not do it at all on the buttons, but sometimes it will let you, it will actually come up and it'll say the anchor point for these, for a button, is sometimes hard to find. But anyway, it should come up and say EURUSD, and then it should say the word buy. This one should say buy. And this one should say EURUSD sell. On the next step, they will, for sure. Just button, buy. There's what the word says. The size of the button, 40 tall, 18 wide, or the other way around. 100 is the X, the vertical. Once again now, it's just so we can drop down 22, 22, 22, like that, so they don't stack on top of each other. The color, black. And if you do that, it'll be step one. Step two will be a whole lot easier, and you'll see. Each step will be easier than the last.